Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's Lunch with Mia. My name is Patty Dorn, and I'm going to be the moderator for today's event. Today, we have some scripted scenario questions to help you understand life insurance. Terry Smith from our Life and Health Unit, she's going to be answering questions about common life insurance related issues. Life insurance can be complicated, and sometimes having the information presented in a form other than a typical presentation can be more engaging. And we do hope that these scenarios will help you to better understand life insurance today. Please leave your phones and your microphones on mute for this event and cameras off. If you have questions, there's a chat box. Feel free to put your questions in the chat box at any time. And then when I'm done asking Terry the questions, we're going to come back and do a Q&A where I'll visit all the questions that are already in the chat box. And then during the Q&A, you can continue to ask questions as well. And with that, welcome, Terry Smith.
Hello there. Thank you.
And we have about 10 questions. And so I'm going to get right into the first question. So Terry, question 1. Hillary was always close to her Aunt Maggie. Maggie didn't have her own children and treated Hillary as her own. Years earlier, Maggie mentioned she had a life insurance policy to cover her final expenses, and she hoped that there would be some left over for Hillary as well. Unfortunately, Maggie had a brief illness and passed away recently, and there had been no discussion about that life insurance policy while she was ill. Hillary doesn't know where the policy information is located, and she's checked every place that she can think. So what is Hillary's next step?
Okay, so we purchase life insurance to provide security for ourselves and our loved ones, but we also need to make sure we have left someone with clear instructions on how to find our policy or policies. Currently, there is $1 billion in unclaimed life insurance policies in the United States. In this case, Hillary suspects there's a policy, but she can't locate it. So Hillary may have already done some of this, but she should start her search by checking bank statements and bills for evidence of an existing policy. She should also check safe deposit boxes and online financial accounts if she has access to them. If Hillary locates a policy with contact information, she should contact the insurer directly. If contact information for the insurer is missing, or if the company appears to not be in business any longer, she can contact us at the Maryland Insurance Administration at 1-800-492-6116 for assistance. If her search hasn't uncovered any leads, the National Association of Insurance Commissioners may be able to help. They have a policy locator service that is free of charge, and it's located on their webpage. I'm going to read you the website, but we are going to also give you the webpage at the end of the presentation. So the webpage is https://life-policy.policylocator/. And again, we will give you that at the end of the presentation. So when you do this policy locator service, you want to have as much information gathered as possible. At a minimum, Hillary's going to need her Aunt Maggie's legal name, her date of birth, her date of death, and her social security number. It would also be really helpful if she knows any previous legal names and addresses. That information will allow the companies to conduct a more accurate search of their records.
Thanks, Terry. And on the screen, we did have the URL for that
Okay,
policy
great,
locator. Yeah, and we will bring
great.
it up again. We'll bring it up at the Q&A.
Thank
And
you.
I did say, that's a lot to write down. You can Google NAIC life insurance policy locator. I did it right before the presentation. It's the first link that comes right up. So
Perfect.
just FYI. All
Thank you.
right.
That's great.
Yeah. Getting into our next question. So this is about Carlos. Carlos purchased a universal life insurance policy nearly 20 years ago and chose a planned premium of $50 a month. So more than he needed to pay, but he was interested in building up his cash value. Last month, Carlos received a letter stating that he must now start contributing at least $250 per month or decrease the death benefit to keep that policy from lapsing. He contacted his insurer to ask about using his cash value to pay the future premiums, but he was told that there's no longer any funds in the account. So how did this happen and what does Carlos need to do going forward?
Okay, so let's talk for just a minute about how this kind of life insurance policy works. Universal life insurance policies are designed with flexible premiums that you may increase or decrease. You choose the amount you pay. That's known as your planned premium. Part of that premium pays for the life insurance and administration costs, and the remaining funds go into an account that earns interest. Interest rates may have been higher when Carlos decided on his premium of $50 a month, but the account has earned less in recent years. This has affected the cash value. For years, Carlos's planned premium paid the life insurance and administration costs with extra funds going into the policy's account value. However, the cost of life insurance for most universal life policies increases as you age. Carlos continued with his planned premium, but at some point the cost of life insurance and the administration fees were higher than his planned premium, and the insurer used the cash value in his account to make up the difference. Even when the cash value was depleted, eventually when the cash value was depleted, Carlos was informed that he needed to start making larger payments or decrease his death benefit to keep his policy in force. The insurer is required to send a yearly statement to the account holder that will tell you the current cash value in the account and if you're paying enough premium to keep the policy in force long term. It is recommended that Carlos review the recent letter from his insurer carefully so he understands all the options that are available to him.
Thanks, Terry. So Carlos ultimately decided that he had no choice but to let that universal life insurance policy lapse since he could not afford $250 a month and the death benefit reduction made the policy nearly worthless. Carlos called a company that he saw advertised on TV, and they said that their policies were guaranteed issue. You couldn't be turned down. Well, Carlos was turned down. Carlos thinks that this was false advertising and wants to file a complaint with the Maryland Insurance Administration. Can Carlos do that? And was this false advertising?
Well, the answer is maybe. Certainly, if the insurer guaranteed that everyone would be accepted, but ultimately Carlos was offered nothing at all, that is false advertising, and you can certainly file a complaint with us. But more likely, the language the insurer used was fairly vague. The ad was probably worded in such a way that allows them to either not offer the life insurance to certain people, or it's so expensive or it's so little coverage that most people would understand it wasn't worth purchasing. Now, that all said, there are guarantee issue policies out there, though they might not be the best life insurance match for Carlos. True guaranteed issue policies ask no health history questions. The company knows it is taking a risk because people with bad health will buy these policies. The company may balance the risk by charging higher premiums or by limiting the amount of insurance that you buy. Sometimes the premiums can be almost as much as the insurance benefit to be paid to the beneficiary. Be sure you clearly understand the policy you are purchasing, and remember to speak with an advisor if you do not.
Thanks, Terry. All right, third question. Maria just got married and she's considering purchasing a life insurance policy. She doesn't yet have children, and she and her husband rent an apartment. How can Maria determine how much life insurance coverage she should purchase?
So life insurance financially protects your loved ones, like Maria's husband, and even her future children, should she choose to have kids. Maria should consider her income and how long that income would need to be replaced if something happened to her. She should also consider if there's someone else dependent on her, a parent, grandparent, or even a sibling. Maria will also want to consider estimating final expenses, debts, and estate taxes. She may want to consult a financial advisor, friend, or family member for assistance with the process if she doesn't feel comfortable calculating these things on her own.
Thanks, Terry. So Maria is also interested in purchasing her policy from someone who does not make a commission. She doesn't believe that she'll get the best advice if someone is directly making money from the sale. What are Maria's options for purchasing a life insurance product from someone who does not make a commission from the sale?
So Maria's options for purchasing life insurance from someone not making a commission on the sale are minimal. If she buys into a life insurance policy through her employer, she may not be interacting directly with an agent or broker, but there is likely still someone benefiting from that transaction. To avoid what Maria fears, biased information, she could do her own research about life insurance and come to the table with informed questions for the agent or broker. Or Maria can talk to a friend, fee-for-service financial planner, or other financial professional who can help her figure out what makes sense for her situation before purchasing the life insurance from an insurance agent or broker.
All right, thanks, Terry. So next question. Jesse has a few health issues. So high blood pressure, and lately he hasn't had much luck keeping his blood sugar under control. While he was struggling with his blood sugar, he applied for a life insurance policy. A nurse came to his home for a physical, and he later found out that he had been denied coverage. Jesse was upset. He thought that the ACA, he thought the Affordable Care Act meant that you can't be turned down for policies like this. So can you be denied coverage for life insurance?
Yes, you can. So the Affordable Care Act applies only to health insurance policies, not life insurance policies. While the Affordable Care Act means most health insurance policies are guarantee issue policies without underwriting or health checks, it's not the same for life insurance. Unless you are buying into a group policy, you can be, and you almost certainly will be, underwritten by the life insurer. There are guaranteed issue life insurance policies. These insurers won't ask you any health questions, but you will likely pay a lot for these policies for minimal coverage. Jesse shouldn't give up quite yet. There are lots of life insurers to choose from in Maryland, and he may very well find one that will sell him a life insurance policy that makes sense for him.
All right, thanks, Terry. So the next question, and this is actually true to me. I've been told by several people in my life to never buy term life insurance, always buy whole life insurance. So is that good advice?
Now, across the board advice like that is rarely good advice, and this is no exception. The term life makes sense for some and whole life insurance for others. What's important is to understand the difference and for you to decide what makes sense for you. Term life insurance covers you for a term of 1 or more years, and it pays a death benefit only if you die during that term. It generally offers the largest insurance protection for your premium dollar, but generally does not build up cash value to use in the future. Term insurance offers a fixed premium for the term, but if you can keep the policy after the term ends, the premiums may be much higher. A permanent insurance, which includes types such as universal life, variable universal life, and whole life, provides permanent coverage for your entire life, provided you continue paying the premiums. These policies include a death benefit and in many cases, cash savings. Because of the savings element, premiums tend to be higher. So with term life insurance, you can usually afford more. If you're anticipating needing to replace 20 years of income, you can easily need $1 million or more. And that is going to be unaffordable for most with a whole life insurance policy. But remember, term is also limited to a term. The policy will end, unlike whole life insurance, which you can generally keep for your entire life. Both insurance products make sense for different people at different times in their lives.
Thanks, Terry. Next question. Olivia's life insurance premium was auto-billed to her credit card. Her credit card expired while Olivia was in another state, helping her grandmother, and the premium didn't get paid on time. When she returned home, opened her mail, she learned that her policy had been canceled. So can they do that? Olivia called and explained that she was away from her mail for several weeks, but the life insurer would not change their mind about the cancellation.
Okay, so an insurer can only cancel a life insurance policy for one of two reasons: non-payment of premiums or fraud. In this case, Olivia was canceled because she did not make payment of her premiums. Your life insurance premiums are due on a specific date. After that date passes, most insurers allow a grace period, typically 30 days. If you pay within the grace period, your life insurance policy usually remains in place. However, if that 30 days has passed, the insurer can cancel your policy. If you ask, you may be able to have your policy reinstated, but it is essential that you act quickly.
Thank you. All right, then the next question is, Katie's husband hasn't spoken to his parents in over 5 years due to the fact they borrowed money. They lied to them. They never paid any money back. They found out that Katie's husband's sister, that his parents took out a life insurance policy on Katie's husband. So the parents took out a life insurance policy on Katie's husband. Is this allowed by law? Who's allowed to buy a policy on your life? So it's very upsetting to them that there's this policy out on Katie's husband's life.
Understood. So although there are some exceptions, if a life insurance policy is not a group policy, generally the person whose life is to be insured, in this case the husband, must be both 1, legally competent to enter into a contract, and 2, consent in writing to the policy, unless an exception applies. Since her husband clearly did not consent in writing to this policy, then one of these exceptions must apply. 1, the purchaser is a spouse. 2, you lack legal capacity to consent and the person purchasing the policy has an insurable interest in your life. A parent, step-parent, or spouse purchasing a family policy that insures 2 or more family members, or the person to be insured is a minor and the purchaser has an insurable interest in the life of the minor, or the minor is dependent on the person for support. So in this case, in this husband's case, number 3 would apply. So that was a parent, step parent, or spouse purchasing a family policy that insures 2 or more family members. She can always file a complaint with the Maryland Insurance Administration for us to investigate it. And if the exception does not apply in this situation, the in-laws will not be able to keep that life insurance policy in force.
Thanks, Terry. All right, so this is the last question coming up, and I just want to say, if you have questions, please put them in the chat after this last scenario. We will be taking the questions from the chat. So the last question, Catherine is 55 years old and realizes that she needs to start thinking about estate planning in the near future. Catherine had life insurance through a group policy at work, but she retired early and has not had a life insurance policy since. She feels like she doesn't need life insurance. Her only child is doing fine on their own, and no one else is dependent on her. Are there alternatives to life insurance? She doesn't want to leave the burden of her final expenses to her child.
So Catherine's situation isn't unusual at all. Many people lose their life insurance when they leave their jobs or retire, and they may need to make the decision whether to start a new policy or proceed without a life insurance policy. While life insurance may be a great solution to this situation for some, there are good alternatives to life insurance, especially for those who have paid off most of their debt and don't have or don't expect to have dependents. Catherine's simplest alternative is to estimate how much money she will need in the future for her final expenses, and then save the money, either keeping it just in an account in cash or investing the money in a way she is comfortable with. Catherine may also want to look into pre-need services, paying for her memorial services and additional final expenses in advance. Pre-planning minimizes the decisions that have to be made by your loved ones and allows you to control your own final arrangements. Catherine does need to be aware that having prepaid arrangements doesn't mean everything is paid off. While the funeral home will accept the contract as payment in full for services and merchandise, there are items from outside vendors the funeral home will have no pricing control over. These cash advance items, such as obituary notices, flowers, pallbearers, these may increase in cost, which would cause an additional cost at the time of services.
Thanks, Terry. We're gonna start the Q&A. Joyce, would you mind putting that slide back up with the policy locator? So everybody has a few more minutes to jot down information from that slide. The National Association of Insurance Commissioners has this policy locator service, and the URL is that blue right underneath it. Terry read the URL earlier. And if you don't feel like writing it down, you can Google NAIC life insurance policy locator. Like I said earlier, that does work. Also, our contact information is below. We do have a couple questions in the chat. I'm going to start with this one, which is more of a comment. Terry, you have to think realistically about, you have to think about how long realistically you're going to live, and then also thinking about how you live with regards to life insurance. I guess if you're leaving the money to someone, you know, what is your income, what is your lifestyle, et cetera.
Very good point.
And then there is another question. So Julie wrote, my former spouse and I have a 20-year term life policy. He just passed away. Sorry, Julie. I am listed as the beneficiary, but the insurance company claims that because of Maryland state law, as I am the ex-spouse, they have to review the divorce decree and the marital separation agreement to make sure that I am truly the beneficiary. The marital separation has it written that we will both keep the term life insurance in place, with one another as beneficiaries, with our children listed as contingency beneficiaries. Is this legitimate? And the divorce took place in Maryland.
It honestly does sound legitimate. Usually when someone passes away, the insurance company does obviously inspect the claim, make sure that it's valid. They'll check, review the policy. If it's been within 2 years of the policy being issued, there's actually a contestable period where if information that was provided on the application wasn't correct, they can rescind the policy. So they can definitely review it. Now, they will be required to pay interest once they were made aware of his passing. My suggestion would be to write into us and file a written formal complaint. That way we will write to the insurance company on your behalf. Sometimes that actually gets the process flowing just a bit quicker. And they can provide us with information so we can let you know exactly what is happening and what the status is. So we do have several ways you can file a complaint with us. We have a consumer portal on our website, and our website is insurance.mia. Actually, I'm sorry, I'm giving you our email.
Maryland.
.net, Maryland. Sorry. Let me give you our email. That's the easiest. It's lhcomplaints.mia@maryland.gov. So it's LH, the word complaint plural, .mia@maryland.gov. That's actually a confidential email and I monitor it. So they would come to myself. And if you prefer, you can give us a call and we can mail you a complaint form. Some people just feel more comfortable filling out a form, and we have that available too.
Thanks, Terry.
Sure.
And Julie, if you have any follow-up questions, feel free to put those in the chat as well. The next question, if a person is denied health insurance due to health, what steps should be taken to present insurance needs to the next insurance company? What should a person say to explain those health issues?
Are they asking life insurance? It sounded like you said if they are denied health. It is life. Okay.
Yeah, life insurance due to health.
Their health conditions.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes, sometimes there's really not a lot that you can do. If say they deny you because you previously had cancer, and maybe their underwriting guidelines may say anyone who has had active treatment within a year. And if you have something that proves no, that's not the case. Each life insurance company can have different underwriting guidelines. However, they must be applied consistently to all individuals. So that's why we mentioned that you can try other life insurance companies. And knowing upfront if the first one denied you under that example that I gave with the cancer, have supporting documentation. When did you have it? When was the last time you saw a provider? And sometimes even providers will give you a letter just to give the status of your health. So knowledge is power. If you have stuff to present to them and provide them, that's always helpful.
Thanks, Terry. Request for our team. Could somebody put the life and health email, please, in the chat? Someone is asking for that. Another question for you, Terry. can you be denied life insurance because you took the COVID-19 vaccine?
Good question. At this point, no, that's not being considered as part of a life insurance company's underwriting guidelines.
Thanks.
Mhm.
Where can a person find descriptions of life insurance types?
Mm, We have a couple brochures that
Mhm.
describe the different types of policies and plans. Um,
Yeah,
I'm
we
sh-
have a guide to life insurance that talks
mhm,
about the different permanent life insurance and as well as term life insurance on our website. And again, insurance.maryland.gov.
right. And you can always talk to a licensed producer. You're not required to purchase something from them, but they've had to go through training and should know the different policies that are available. A lot of them represent specific companies, and they can tell you the differences in the policies that are offered by these companies.
Thanks, Terry.
Sure.
Okay, so I have a couple other things in the chat. We have it's to sign up to receive information about future presentations and in-person events. We have a place that you can sign up. Joyce Peach posted that in the chat. So if you want to sign up for future events and just get that information directly to your email, if you want to, that link is it's a link that Joyce Peach posted in the chat. There's also a survey in the chat as well. We're always looking for feedback. We're trying to figure out, where did you find out about this event? So we kind of know where to advertise. And then what would you like to see from us in the future? So we have a survey in there, and it would be great if we could get feedback and also about the presentation itself. And if anyone has any other questions, you still have a couple minutes to put them in the chat. And we do definitely try to advertise on Nextdoor. And then I just have a couple more announcements. Oh, here's one more question. 1 second. So Julie says, this is a work-related question. I work for Maryland Healthcare Commission, and we refer people to the Consumer Advocacy and Health Information Office. What is the best phone number to be giving them? And Julie, you're talking about the Maryland Insurance Administration, I'm assuming. Okay, all right, cool. If somebody can post the MIA's phone number, and you can definitely tell them to ask to be transferred to our unit as well. Thanks, Joyce. All right, I just have a few more announcements if no one has any other questions. Again, I do encourage you to sign up to find out about future events. And answer the presentation survey if you don't mind. But if there are no more questions, I do thank you for attending today's Lunch with Mia event. Join us for events in the future. So on February 22nd, so next week, February 22nd, 11 a.m., I'm going to be holding a 1-hour presentation about annuities. And then on March 10th, we're going to be back with another Lunch with Mia. So this Lunch with Mia on March 10th, this is about assistance for renters and homeowners. And it's going to be 90 minutes. So the idea is it's going to run from 12 until 1:30. We're going to be hosting the Maryland office of the People's Council. So they will be there speaking about what they do and how they help Marylanders, as well as the Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development, the Maryland Department of Human Services, and also the Habitat for Humanity Metro Maryland. So they're going to be there for a conversation about resources available to help homeowners and renters that are facing challenges, if that's paying for home improvements or utility bills. You can find the information on our website, as well as you can find all this information on Eventbrite. And just as an FYI, you don't have to sign up for the events on Eventbrite to attend. You can just attend from the link. But if you do sign up for Eventbrite, they send you those reminders. And so we encourage you to sign up. And so with that, seeing no other questions, I just want to say thank you everyone for attending the event today. And we hope to see you at our events in the future. Have a great afternoon, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.